On January 26, 1945, at 2:20 in the afternoon, the frozen fields outside Holtzwihr, France witnessed an event so improbable that it defied every principle of military science. Through smoke, snow, and the thunder of artillery, a single American soldier, just 19 years old and scarcely 50 kilograms in weight, climbed atop a burning tank destroyer and held back the entire advance of a reinforced German company. The elite Gebirgsjäger, mountain troops hardened in Norway and the Eastern Front, backed by 6 armored vehicles that had crushed resistance across Europe, suddenly found themselves halted by one man. For an hour that should have lasted only minutes, Second Lieutenant Audie Murphy rewrote the rules of warfare. His path to that burning M10 tank destroyer began far from Europe, in the cotton fields of Hunt County, Texas, where he was born on June 20, 1925, the 6th of 12 children in a family of impoverished sharecroppers. Abandoned by his father at age 12 and orphaned by 16, Murphy became the sole provider for his younger siblings. His survival depended on his ability to shoot accurately. Every bullet was precious, every missed shot meant hunger. Neighbors remembered the small, quiet boy who could drop a running rabbit at 50 yards with a worn .22 rifle, a skill that would one day shape battlefields. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, Murphy saw a chance to escape poverty and send money home, but the Marines, Navy, and even the paratroopers rejected him as too small. Only the regular army accepted him after his sister falsified his age. At basic training, he looked like a mascot, a child among soldiers, but on the rifle range his expression turned cold and unblinking. He never missed. Murphy's transformation began in Sicily in 1943 when the 3rd Infantry Division landed at Licata. There, he discovered a talent so chilling it haunted him ever after. He was exceptionally good at killing. His childhood skills, moving silently, reading terrain, firing with perfect accuracy, translated seamlessly to combat. Near Palermo, when machine gun fire pinned his unit, Murphy flanked the position alone, killed the crew with grenades, then turned the enemy weapon on retreating German soldiers. His commanders noted his eerie calm, his natural instinct for battle. In Italy and at Anzio, this farm boy became a legendary warrior. He destroyed a German tank at point-blank range with a bazooka, earned the Distinguished Service Cross for halting a German counterattack alone at the Volturno River, and was praised by fellow soldiers for fighting not with rage, but with cold calculation. By the time he reached southern France in 1944, Murphy had survived some of the bloodiest campaigns of the war, absorbed wounds, earned decorations for valor, and built a reputation among both Americans and Germans as a man to fear. When his lieutenant was killed during an ambush near Montelimar, Murphy took command of 18 men and held a crossroads against more than 100 Germans for 2 hours, personally killing at least 15 attackers. For this leadership, he received a battlefield commission to 2nd lieutenant. By January 1945, as the 3rd Infantry Division approached the Colmar pocket, the last German foothold west of the Rhine, Murphy was 19 going on 50. He had lost most of the friends he entered the army with. He had killed over 100 enemy soldiers. Company B had been reduced from 187 men to 40, most suffering from frostbite, exhaustion, and wounds. Murphy himself carried shrapnel in his leg, but told no one. Their position near the edge of the Bois de Redouir forest was a nightmare of frozen earth and shattered trees. Snow lay in deep drifts, and the men's machine guns froze in their hands. They had no tanks except 2 M10 tank destroyers, one of which slid into a ditch early in the battle. When the Germans opened their assault with a 30-minute artillery barrage of tree bursts, splinters of wood and shrapnel rained down on the Americans. Then, out of the gray winter haze, 6 German tanks advanced in formation with roughly 250 infantry in white camouflage spreading out behind them like ghosts on the snow. American artillery alone couldn't stop them. When the rear M10 took a direct hit from an 88mm shell and erupted into flames, its crew abandoned it. The last armored vehicle was stuck and useless. At that moment, Murphy ordered his men to fall back into the forest for a secondary defense line. But he did not fall back. Instead, he ran alone through the shellfire toward the burning M10. The vehicle was engulfed in flames so intense that heat poured off it in waves. At any second, the ammunition inside might explode. But Murphy climbed onto the turret, manned the .50 caliber M2 Browning machine gun, and opened fire. From his elevated position, cloaked in the smoke of the burning tank destroyer, he fired with deadly precision at the advancing German infantry. Witnesses recalled that he cut down entire squads, hitting them at extreme ranges, then shifting effortlessly to closer targets. German soldiers tried to flank him, but Murphy saw everything. He maintained radio contact with artillery, calling in strikes so close that Allied shells exploded within yards of his own position. His firing was so accurate that German infantry were pinned in open fields, unable to advance or retreat. Their tanks, lacking infantry support, refused to move forward. For 40 minutes Murphy fought alone atop that burning wreck, exposed to fire from 3 sides. German rifle rounds ricocheted off the metal around him. Machine gun bullets tore through the smoke. An estimated 10,000 rounds were fired at him. Statistically, he should have been killed dozens of times. But he kept firing, kept adjusting artillery, kept killing. When his .50 caliber ammunition ran low, he used his carbine. When German soldiers approached within 10 yards, he shot them individually. When his leg was torn by shrapnel from his own danger-close artillery barrage, he stayed in place. Finally, as German forces broke and retreated, their tanks reversing course and infantry fleeing back toward Holtzwihr, Murphy climbed down, limping, burned, bleeding, exhausted, but calm. His men watched in awe as he simply lit a cigarette and asked if anyone had been hurt. German records are almost silent about the fight, likely because so many who witnessed it died, because documents were destroyed, and because the psychological impact of being halted by one American soldier was devastating. The 2nd Mountain Division's war diary mentioned only that an attack had been repulsed with heavy casualties, drastically understating the humiliation. The Germans never attacked that sector again. That night, they withdrew completely. The defense Murphy led enabled the U.S. 3rd Infantry Division to secure the forest and paved the way for the collapse of the Colmar pocket, eliminating 50,000 German troops and hastening the Allied advance into Germany. On June 2, 1945, Murphy received the Medal of Honor. Yet he never saw himself as a hero. He said simply, "They were killing my friends." After the war, he faced a different battle. Psychological wounds now recognized as PTSD. He suffered nightmares, insomnia, and hypervigilance so severe he slept with a loaded pistol under his pillow or in his garage with the lights on. His first marriage collapsed under the strain, yet he spent the rest of his life advocating for veterans suffering from what he called battle fatigue. His honesty helped change public understanding of combat trauma, eventually leading to the creation of the Audie Murphy Memorial VA Hospital. Murphy received 33 decorations for valor, every major American combat medal, some twice, yet his greatest legacy may have been giving voice to veterans' invisible wounds. Today, military academies study his stand at Holtzwihr to teach leadership, defensive strategy, artillery integration, and the psychology of combat. His name lives on in the Audie Murphy Club, honoring NCOs who embody his example. Modern commanders argue that although technology has changed warfare, the human spirit remains decisive. Murphy proved that one person's will can alter the course of battle. Each year, at the memorial on the field where he fought, French citizens, American veterans, and sometimes former German soldiers gather to honor the moment a 19-year-old Texan, who once hunted rabbits to feed his siblings, held off 250 enemy troops alone. His story endures because it captures the most shocking truth of war, that in one critical moment, an ordinary person can become extraordinary. And on that frozen field in France, Audie Murphy became exactly that, the embodiment of courage beyond calculation, the soldier who stood alone and stopped an army.